People often ask me about the great rejections I faced from publishers before my novel saw the light of day, expecting some grand tale of a struggling artist papering her walls with rejection slips. The truth is quite different, though perhaps infinitely more exhausting. I did not face a wall of publishing executives telling me my work was worthless. My greatest struggles and rejections were far more intimate, born of my own body, my own mind, and the society I kept. If you want to know about my struggles, you must first understand the physical and emotional pain that became my constant companions early in life. When I was just a young woman at Smith College, I received word that my mother was dying of the great influenza. I rushed onto a train to get back to Atlanta, but I arrived a day too late. That loss felt like a profound rejection by fate itself, a sudden and brutal tearing away of the woman who had always demanded I secure my own independence. I tried to find my way after that, but my first marriage to Barry Nuptial was a disastrous struggle. He was violent and unpredictable, and the marriage ended in a scandalous divorce that forced me to harden myself against the harsh judgments of polite Southern society. I found my salvation in working as a reporter for the Atlanta Journal. I loved the rush of the newsroom and the independence it gave me, but my body betrayed me. A severe ankle injury, compounded by crippling arthritis, forced me to resign. I was confined to a chair, restless, frustrated, and grieving the loss of my career. My second husband, John Marsh, brought me armloads of library books until I had read nearly everything in town, and finally, he told me I would have to write my own book to entertain myself. That is how the manuscript began, not out of towering literary ambition, but out of absolute physical confinement and boredom, but the writing itself became a struggle that stretched over 10 long years. I wrote the last chapter first, and then worked backward and forward, creating a sprawling, disorganized mess of envelopes and manila folders hidden under beds and beneath towels. The rejection I faced during that decade came from my own social circle. My friends in Atlanta knew I was supposedly writing a book, but they treated it as a polite joke. They would ask about it with that thinly veiled Southern condescension, smiling behind their teacups. I remember one particular afternoon when a friend laughed outright at the very notion that I could produce a real novel. That mockery stung deeper than any formal rejection letter ever could. It bred a crippling insecurity within me. I was so ashamed of my sprawling, messy manuscript that I refused to show it to anyone. When Harold Latham of Macmillan came to Atlanta scouting for new authors, I flatly denied having a book. It was only after another friend made a snide remark about my writing that I grew angry enough to march down to Latham's hotel and shove the massive towering stacks of paper into his arms. I regretted it instantly. I even sent him a telegram begging him to send it back unread. The doubt was a suffocating weight, and then came the greatest struggle of all, which was the publication itself. You might think success is the end of a writer's troubles, but for me, it was the end of my life as I knew it. The sheer, crushing magnitude of the fame that followed destroyed my peace. I was besieged by reporters, tourists, and strangers knocking on my door at all hours. I spent years fighting copyright battles, answering thousands of letters, and dealing with the absolute loss of my privacy. People wonder why I never wrote another book. They do not understand that the effort of writing the first one, hiding it, doubting it, and then surviving its monstrous success took every ounce of creative life I had inside me. My struggle was not in getting the world to accept my work, but in surviving the world once it did.